Often people ask me what it's like to be in my 60s and have invited in and welcomed an extraordinary relationship like I have with Joy, because they also would like to have a relationship like that. And they're afraid to even consider that it could happen. They don't want to be disappointed. So I share the story that I'm sharing to give people hope. The more that Joy and I have been together, the more people we reach and touch into that have open to extraordinary relationship, more than I even knew existed before I got together with her. It's like, it's more common than I thought. It's not common, but it's much more available. And there's something very similar about those stories, about how a couple experienced each other when they got together, when it was at a very profound, compatible level. So I thought I'd share a little bit about what it's like for me to have gone through praying for something like this, not knowing if I'd receive it, what it's like to receive it, and how we're taking care of it like gold as inspiration for people to trust if they have that prayer in their heart for that, no matter their age. 80s, it's not about age. If you have a prayer in your heart, you have a prayer in your heart. To not honor it would be to go against the grain of who you are. There's no guarantee it will be fulfilled. I don't believe that that's the case. I don't believe everybody gets everything they want. I don't think that's how life works. My spiritual teacher told me once, I'm lucky if I get half of what I want. So there's this dance with the spirit of life with our prayers. But if we don't pray them and we don't take action on them, the answer is no. And that wasn't acceptable to me. I don't know if I could find the words, the thankfulness, the gratitude I have for what has emerged in my life 3 years ago when I first came across Joy's profile on spiritualsingles.com. Now, prior to that, I had spent 4 years pining, waiting, dating, not knowing if my prayer for a partner would get answered. And I knew I had a powerful prayer. It had me. It had me. And there was some things that came with it. There were some elements of what I saw inwardly. And there was a conversation with the spirit of life of what that might mean if an extraordinary partner arrived into my life. And I was told things like, when this happens, your life will be transformed. Your work will be transformed. You will enter into a whole new level that's available when that partner and that element of intimate relationship is flowering and flourishing. So I had faith that it was being delivered. I had faith in all the steps I was taking. And was I nervous about being older? Yes. Did I notice my skin was starting to look not the same as it always has and fresh? And yes. I was a little overweight. I was insecure about that. But there was this powerful draw. And then I'd had a couple close calls before that with two women that I had a relationship with. One was like 3 months, one was 1 month, that were very powerful. And it's kind of like uh, a little tease, a little, what do they call that? A little preview of what was to come. But they weren't the right match for both of us, and we knew that. So I was very, very dedicated that if Joy never arrived, it wouldn't be because I hadn't done everything I could to be available to her. And all I could say is, from the time we first had our conversation on Zoom on a Saturday for 2 hours, my life has not been the same. It's just not been the same. There's a way that we courted and danced. Did it have all the thrill of the new? Of course. All the physicality, all the enjoyment, all the saturation, and that is that season of experience, which I've had before, is so delicious. But I also knew, and she knew, We were looking for something much more than that, something more sustaining, something mature, where real compatibility showed up. And we knew as deeply as we felt about each other, and we both were willing to participate 100% in a courtship. We both knew and reminded each other there were no guarantees. I mean, that's the deal with a situation like this. There isn't any guarantees. There still isn't any guarantees. It's been 3 years. But we were willing to say, let's give it everything we have and let's see what we have. And it turns out that we have extraordinary compatibility. And I'd always envisioned working together and doing work, spiritual work flowing through us, where we would be inspired and we would bring forward new teachings, new principles, tools, which we have all around relationship. And we moved relatively quickly. We moved quickly in terms of physically sharing our bodies. We moved in terms of me. I was living up in Seattle at the time, and I moved down to Mount Shasta where she lived and where we live now. And I fell in love with Mount Shasta. At the same time, I fell in love with her. I just loved living in Mount Shasta, have for 2.5 or more years. It's extraordinary. It's a fit. There's nothing like living in an environment, landscape that speaks to me. It's just wow. I mean, that's equally powerful. Initially, as we got together, I'm a little older than she is. So I was insecure about, well, I'm older. Might she still want to stay with me? So I had to share insecurities because all of my human patterns, that's the nature of our relationship. We both have them and we both share them openly with each other. And so I was nervous about that. Then I started having fears about whether I loved what we had so much. I wondered how long it would last before I died. And I was thinking about the end. And I was kind of haunted by that. It was like, God, why couldn't we have found each other when we were in our 40s and we're the same age? But no, when we got together, I was 67. So I did some counseling work with an intuitive that really helped me kind of seal off that draw towards being afraid about the end of our relationship and when I would die. Because he told me, he said, every second you spend thinking about that, you rob yourself of the joy of being present in this now. And when he said that, it was like there was a partition inside of me that said, don't go there. Just don't go there. And I haven't, which is nice because I was haunted for a while. And I've also, when I was young, in my teens, I was an athlete. I was a very, very competent athlete in baseball. I was a pitcher. And I knew myself and I knew my body as an athlete, but I drifted away from that in my life. So being with Joy, talk about being in my late 60s when we met, it's like she's so dedicated, not just because she wants me to stay around. It's like she has a value of embodied vitality, well-being, nutrition, swimming, climbing the mountain. And as I've joined her in that whole athlete in me is reawakened, which has been pretty extraordinary. That's how I know myself now. And so I've never been healthier, never taken better care of my health. And that's one of the things we've discovered is so key in an intimate relationship is embodied vitality. And it has all kinds of dividends. So I find myself more than anything treasuring each and every day, each and every night we get to hold each other while we sleep during the night. It means the world to me. I haven't had a relationship like this. I didn't know if I could. It's far more than I even imagined. So I just keep trying to find ways to receive it, cherish it. What do they call that when you have good tea? You steep the tea. It's like I'm steeping. And I still pinch myself and I'm astonished at what we have and what I have in my life. I don't feel as if I deserve it. I don't think it's a matter of deserving. I know I give a lot. I know I bring a lot. I mean, she brings out the very best in me. I've never loved as deeply and as fully as I love now, how steadily I am. I've never felt being a man the way I'm being a man now. And she just brings out that. Our relationship brings out that on all different levels, providing affection, steadiness, holding, honoring her, cherishing her. um, being loyal, bringing her trust, bringing her safety. It's so rewarding to love her. It's so rewarding to grow, um, and keep growing into the best I can. And she's doing the same. So I don't know what other people's experience is like, but I do know that I dared to pray for this, and I did everything I could to earn it, to open the door. So I've always said, anyone that has that prayer in their heart for an extraordinary relationship, better than they've ever had, pray the prayer, take steps towards it. Just know that you've done what you can. And it's amazing to me that all it took was one profile and one Zoom call, and everything else is paraded after that. Life happens that way. I'm a firm believer. I see it over and over in my life. So, um, if you have stories that you're not accessible to a relationship like that for whatever reason, you're pretending to know something you really don't know. So, open wide, pray, take steps. I did. I'm just so glad I did. I'm very fortunate in this life. I've had a lot of suffering, but there's been extraordinary blessings. When I was 25, I opened to having very profound spiritual experiences, tapping into my own true self, my own knowing, to having a conscious relationship with spirit inside of me that's available to me, that I can speak to, I can go to when I'm in trouble, and I do, and who I share my prayers with. And I actually am responded to. I write about this. It happens in a number of ways through my book, The Real You, Leading Your Life from Your Authentic Self. I talk about how throughout my life, I've cultivated and deepened my relationship with spirit. It's a personal relationship that's profound, and it has given me guidance often through my life. It guided me to walk away from a 25-year marriage, but it also guided me towards welcoming a partnership like joy. So, for example, as I was waiting for the prayer of joy to be answered, it it took 4 years. They were not easy. I was lonely because I love being in relationship. I flourish in it. And I was not in relationship, and I'd been in a long-term marriage. And so I remember pleading in my dialogue with spirit one day. It's like, why is this taking so long? And spirit, in the way that I heard it, the way that I do inside, just said, we know that it's not easy, but try to imagine the job of putting together two people's lives that are a real strong match for each other, who are now open and ready to play together. And that, so we know what your prayer is, and we're working on it, and it won't be long now. And that was helpful to me. But that's what I mean is it's an intuitive relationship, but there is a distinct presence that's not me, that has been made available to me in my life since I was 25. It's helped me immeasurably in my work and guide me into projects, tells me who to be in relationship with and who to accept as clients. It's my North Star guiding mechanism, and it's almost constantly available as long as I remember to take advantage of it and to ask, because it's very willing to be available to me. If I'm closed off from it, it's I that has foreclosed that encounter. I needed time to get to know Joy, and she needed time to get to know me. How did we go about doing that? We both were guided to play wholeheartedly, to be as authentic as we could, to be as risking as we could, knowing that with each risk, the relationship could get jeopardized. I'm a firm believer that one of the best ways to have an extraordinary relationship is be willing to risk talking about things that each partner is afraid might jeopardize the relationship. Because I've seen, being a marriage therapist for 40 years, the bigger risk is not talking about what's real deep inside. That is when the relationship is most at risk. And what allows the relationship to be most alive is to actually continually risk, and we continually do. So One of the things that helped us, and this may help people that are in that situation, is yes, be true to yourself. And if there are red flags or there's concerns or fears from the past, address them. But one of the things we used as kind of like uh, our orientation was a saying that we supported who we are and who we're becoming. So we had both gotten lost in previous relationships, investing in potential, things that we thought were coming or could come, but they weren't present yet. And we didn't want to do that again. But we also recognized that there's a base foundational beingness that each of us has. And we wanted to both, we had a deep connection with each other as souls, as just profound contentment and how we danced and how we lived. And that's who we are. And each of us was also growing because that's what we do. We love growing, coming into new territory and in our work and in our relationship and our relationship with our bodies. So who we are and who we're becoming, we're both involved, cherishing who the other person is and who they're becoming. It's not about changing them. So when I wanted to become an athlete, and reconnect with that part of me, she supported me with everything I had. She wasn't trying to fundamentally change me to do what she wanted. And I love that she loves me for who I am and who I'm becoming. That's a grand love. It's a powerful love. So I hope my sharing has in some way stirred possibilities in you, different ways of looking at how you're approaching the area of relationship and your desire for relationship. And if you have a relationship that's golden, that it may actually help you take great care of it, the great care it deserves. So thanks for listening.